I gotta say, this Monday Night Raw was really great. I gotta say, the Monday Night Raw was good. A lot less filler. So it looks like their road to WrestleMania has built it up so well. And matches I gotta talk about first. I'm gonna skim through them a bit. The Usos match was great against Ryback. And yeah, they were phenomenal. But the Usos continuing to win as the New Age Outlaws were looking to evoke their rematch clause, which I feel like the New Age Outlaws are kind of irrelevant right now because it was supposed to be a storyline with CM Punk and Triple H, and the storyline probably didn't fall through because the New Age Outlaws did walk out on CM Punk, in which I heard from a little somebody that CM Punk was completely dumb for teaming with friends of the guy he's feuding with, and he didn't know those were his friends. So that was, I gotta say, that was a little bit odd. So yeah, but New Age Outlaws still excelling in the ring. So, and the feud with the Usos is a little bit interesting, but I feel like we need to a little bit rebuild the tag team vision because I feel like the Real Americans are going to disband in soon, but it may not be as soon as we think it would be. And the Shield, they might have to stay in the tag team division. I don't know what's much there is to do for them, even though they were held down with the tag team champions. But to get to that, they did had a good tag team matchup with him and Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and the Rhodes brothers. Seth Rollins did get his victory indeed, which was really awesome. I'm excited. The Shield looked like they managed to regroup after what happened on Friday Night SmackDown, where it looked as if they were going to disband it and just do an Evolution dissolve, like from 10 years ago when Evolution started to dissolve with Randy Orton getting dumped from the group first, Batista leaving Evolution, and then Triple H and Ric Flair attacking Ric Flair, and then Evolution did dissolve from there. So indeed, I thought this was going to be the similar story with the Shield, but unfortunately, it didn't really happen. But however, they were willing to go their separate ways, and he acknowledged that they're all three of them, including himself, Seth Rollins, are talented and were willing to do great going our separate ways. But I felt like they should have split up from there. It looked like not very typical split up where they started attacking each other and the hatred developed, but it looked like they looked really repackaged. So it looked like as if Kane was to stir the dissension with the Shield, but the Shield reflected dissension back on Kane. But it turned out, the Shield managed to regroup and finally get a victory over the Rhodes brothers. So unfortunately, it was to say that Goldust and Cody Rhodes will not be fighting each other at WrestleMania, as Goldust did confirm in an interview that he will not be fighting his brother at WrestleMania, which was kind of unfortunate. So that's what I gotta say to that. So the next thing that did indeed happen was another match that did happen was the Christian and Sheamus street fight. The street fight was completely awesome and very aggressive. I felt like Christian should have won from there if he was to use a drum, but unfortunately they set Sheamus up to broke Christian. And I felt like Christian did Christian should have won this match. I'm tired of Sheamus beating Christian all the time. I feel like they need to get to a point at WrestleMania where Christian finally gets his victory. He's developing that edge aggressive mentality where he's frustrated and wants to be the world champion, because I felt like they did the same thing with Edge in 2004 where he just turns heel and then he wants to be world champion and he finally got what he wants. So I felt like he has that same aggression as Edge, that dark aggressive character, and not very whiny or complaining or stuff like that. So I really want to see that sinister heel character really develop. So yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes from there. Next match. So the next match was the Divas match with the Bell Twins and against Tamina and AJ. I felt like as if with the Bell Twins getting the victory, I feel like AJ is going to get her win at WrestleMania if they were to have that match there, and hopefully they do, because it seemed like as if they're developing the tension between the Bell Twins and Natalya, especially Nikki Bella, who needs a win at WrestleMania, which I feel like she does deserve it. Her in-ring kind of improved, and they're actually starting to grow on me a lot because of Total Divas, and they're not just... They were very irrelevant because they were kind of just thrown on TV with Alberto and other stuff, but because now they have something to build their characters from and build themselves from Total Divas and Natalya, It looked like this could go to the reality show if they were to start feuding. This would be great dissension. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for Total Divas to come around in June. I'm glad it's still on the E Network and not the WWE Network, but it's the E Network cable channel. That's what's so great about it. But I'm planning to watch Total Divas. You could bet on that. So, yeah. Other than that, yeah. So that's where it went from there. Before I get to the Daniel Bryan Batista Daniel Bryan Big Show versus Orton Batista main event tag team match. Indeed, we had a promo from the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt versus on John Cena. The promo was great, but it was great how John Cena, made the jokes. It's kind of a way to prove that he's not scared of the Wyatt family, that, he's not intimidated and shooken up, just like how the Shield was. Roman Reigns stood there, so I felt like it was quite interesting, with Bray Wyatt, getting a much needed win against the Shield, and also for John Cena, for him to enter his feud with John Cena, and the Shield also had a story themselves after a loss. So it turned out the Shield did have some momentum from the loss of the Wyatt family and did have good follow-up story. And same thing with the Wyatt family with their win, because they're heading on their feud with John Cena. So it turned out, they both had stepping stones from that big match they had at Elimination Chamber and Raw. So it turned out, with John Cena, heading to his WrestleMania match with Bray Wyatt, from what it seemed like Bray Wyatt accepts. I don't know what Luke Rowan and Eric Harper would do, but hopefully they have themselves occupied as well in the Battle Royale or in some four-corner tag team matchup, so they could stay occupied as well to have a good one-on-one match with Bray Wyatt and John Cena, just like how they had with Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. So Bray Wyatt, I feel like, does need a win in this match to go stronger. So I feel like Bray Wyatt is the new Paul Bearer. Make sure Paul Bearer, Undertaker, and then that's what I got to say to that. So I'm intrigued with what's gonna happen at WrestleMania. Excuse me. Next match we had was the promo I want to talk about was the Daniel Bryan Yes Movement promo. I felt like that promo was really phenomenal. The promo was great, mostly because Daniel Bryan did respond well to what the Authority said earlier tonight on Raw, where Stephanie McMahon and Triple H basically completely patronized the crap out of Daniel Bryan and say he'll never be at his level of WrestleMania for A-plus players. So it turned out that Daniel Bryan did occupy Raw, and then Stephanie McMahon and Triple H kind of looked at disgust, and man, Daniel Bryan really did got under both their skins. They got really pissed off because of that. And then they tried to start the next match. Damian Sandow said, I'm not going to get in the ring with all these people. I can't get in. Stephanie McMahon's like, don't disrespect my husband. And so, Triple H didn't even have to lift his voice. But then Triple H finally spoke, got out of behind Stephanie McMahon and said, you know what, you want this match? You got it. And then Daniel Bryan asked for another thing, which was to be in the WWE World Champion if he was to beat Triple H. Which was really needed because the main event looks like it's going to be complete crap because all the fans aren't really into the main event. But I kind of did like that because they kind of had an evolution storyline to it. But the problem is Randy Orton is booked like crap. His character is completely irrelevant and they're not doing nothing with it anymore. The follow-up of that storyline is completely down the gutter, and I felt like Randy Orton is the only one out of that group that's lacking character, and Batista has so much character right now. But there was supposed to be a storyline follow from Evolution, but it turned out it didn't do well from there, to say the least. So to say the least, it's like it's kind of odd. But however, it is kind of odd because he needs to develop a character, because before in September, when he freshly turned heel, he had such a fresh, new, aggressive character, but now they haven't been doing much with that, so it looked like it's going to be kind of the beginning of the end of Randy Orton's title run and his character. It's happened since the Elimination Chamber, before that, from what it seemed like, but actually to me, after the Elimination Chamber, it seemed like it's the beginning of the end, and it's like, it's going to really dissolve, so it's unfortunate to say that, but it seemed like the storyline with Batista returning and Daniel Bryan having a character, I feel like it had a huge snowball effect on where the WWE title picture lays. So that's what I gotta say to that. So for me, next thing to say was Undertaker's return against Paul Heyman. So from what it seemed like, Undertaker did return and cut a promo towards Paul Heyman. Both promos were good. It was fairly good, very interesting. It doesn't have to do extraordinarily as much. With Brock Lesnar absent and then Undertaker on SmackDown, but Paul Heyman speaking for Brock Lesnar. What I think may really go from there would be Brock Lesnar before WrestleMania. He somehow F5's Undertaker or tries to Kimura lock Undertaker. So I feel like Brock Lesnar should at least deliver an F5 to the Undertaker for a little retribution. So that would be great. And then head into WrestleMania, we could see where the match goes from there. Because over the past few months and years, Brock Lesnar got the best of Undertaker over those years. So we could see if Undertaker can finally beat Brock Lesnar, which I'm really stoked about. So this match, I'm really into that match. It's hard to tell who's gonna win, but I don't want to get cocky and say Undertaker will win because I feel like he does need a victory. That's what I gotta say to that, quite frankly. So yeah, I can't wait for that. So next match we had was the main. Now to get to the main event, Daniel Bryan Batista. Daniel Bryan and Big Show versus Orton and Batista was great. It seemed like as if Daniel Bryan did got a victory and pinned Batista, which was a really surprise. But unfortunately, it was still great. But I feel like Batista and Randy Orton do need to get the best of Daniel Bryan at one point, or Big Show as well. Because I can't have Daniel Bryan. Because Daniel Bryan pinned Kane, then he pinned Batista. But Batista needs to get a pin over Daniel Bryan at one point. Because he did beat Dolph Ziggler, called him a Hollywood pretty boy. And then he beat Del Rio at Elimination Chamber. So he's still looking strong. But I feel like Randy Orton does need a lot of work on his character. Because oh my gosh, it's just, he's kind of like the face Randy Orton of 2011 and 12, where he was completely in an irrelevant position right now. Then 2013, when he was still face, he developed a character all the way leading up till August, where we all know his heel turn was coming, and it really worked wonders. And it turned out his character development really had tons of snowball effect in the storyline of Daniel Bryan and Triple H and the Authority. So they need to really shake that thing back up, because he was hidden by the Authority, but now it's like he's completely irrelevant now, because the storyline is not really much about him anymore, and he's a freaking world champion. And that's why if it was just Orton Batista, the match would be so boring, and that's why people would be pissed off, because they talk about Batista walked off the street, but he returned, but now he has a character, and he's not just some dull-faced character. So now, with the whole image being shooken up, I really can't wait to see what happens. So I don't know, to see if the Authority's going to be back. I want to see Triple H attack Daniel Bryan, get cocky about accepting the challenge, but I can't wait to see that. So I want to see Triple H nail out Daniel Bryan with the sledgehammer, say he's not going to walk in WrestleMania 100%. So he does whatever it takes to prevent Daniel Bryan from being 100%, but Daniel Bryan overcomes those odds from what it looked like. So that's what I got to say to that. So hopefully you guys enjoy my video, even though it was long. So I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out. I need to drink some water.